What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the top 10 Americanisms that really annoy British people. From what I understand, an Americanism is basically a word or a phrase that's primarily used by Americans. Obviously, that's a pretty simple definition, but I think that's what we're really going to be exploring on this video. What are some of the words and phrases that Americans use on a regular basis that annoy the hell out of British people? I sat here before I pressed the record button and tried to think of what are some of these words or phrases that I hear on a regular basis here in America, or maybe I even say myself, that might annoy British people? And I really couldn't come up with anything off the top of my head. I'm guessing once we get going on this video, he'll probably say something that I'll probably recognize as something that may be annoying, but as we're getting into it, I really don't know what to expect here, guys. So let's just go ahead and dive in and check out the top 10 Americanisms that really annoy British people.
Say no to sweaters and fight the fanny pack. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Americanisms that really annoy British people.
How are you doing in England? Remember, an elevator is called a lift, a mile is called a kilometer, and botulism is called steak and kidney pie.
Before we begin, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more great content.
For this list, we're rallying against the words, phrases, and clunky colloquialisms that have slipped into the English language, all thanks to our American cousins. So, get your red pens out, the trash talk stops here.
I hate that the flats are now called apartments, I hate that sweets are now called candy, and I hate that instead of nipping out to the shops, you nip out to the convenience store. I hate it.
Number 10, waiting on something.
Waiting on something.
In general, US prepositions can be pretty awkward, but wait on seems to have caught on in the UK too. Physically speaking, you can wait, as in delay or dally, on anything you like, on the platform, the doorstep, even on the car, if you intend to recline on its roof. But with non-physical things like decisions, bank transfers and movie releases, you definitely wait for them. Of course, waiters really do wait on, but most of the rest of us really don't.
Oh, thanks very much. You blonde bastard.
Number 9.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. At first I was like, what's he getting at? But that's very true. I do believe we use the phrase waiting on something when technically it doesn't really make a lot of sense. For example, I hear all the time, well, I don't hear this all the time, but I've heard this a lot throughout my life. I'm waiting on a ride, for example, or I'm waiting on the bus when a kid is waiting for the bus to arrive, for example. And so while that doesn't really make sense, it is true that Americans do tend to use that phrase quite a bit. I think generally speaking, I usually use the phrase waiting for in the same way you guys would probably use it. But I'm sure I have used the waiting on in the way that would probably annoy you guys. It's just something that is used by everybody from where I'm from, really. So that's interesting. Okay.
I have gotten.
I mean, I had gotten out of control, and I
have gotten.
realizing it.
If gotten were a noun, which it isn't, then you could conceivably have it. Maybe on toast or somewhere in your kitchen. But have we really gotten excited, anxious, or suitably irate? And when we splash out on designer t-shirts and tell our friends all about it the following day, we haven't gotten new clothes, we just got them. In fairness, most linguists agree that this sneaky suffix is rooted in traditional British English. Think ill-gotten gains, but it's a mostly American habit nowadays.
Yes, might have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for these blasted kids and their dog. Then you kids deserve a big thanks.
I've gotten.
Number 8.
I'm sitting here trying to think about that one. I've gotten, like, what was his? I have gotten a shirt. No, can't remember what it was, but I have gotten a shirt. I have gotten, I don't know. I don't use that phrase. I don't think I ever use that phrase. I've gotten. No, I can't think of any time I've really used that. If I was to have a new shirt, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't be like, check out the shirt I've gotten, or hey, I just got. No, I don't even know how you would use that phrase, honestly. I can't even think of how you would use that. If I had a new shirt, I'd be like, hey guys, check out the new shirt I purchased, or check out the new shirt I bought. Or yeah. I'm gonna have to think about that one, because I can't think of a single time I've used that phrase. Maybe I have, and maybe I've heard other people around me use it, but I I literally can't think of a time I've ever heard that used in a sentence. I've gotten, that one's interesting. I really want to think about that, but it would make this video way too long if I was to really sit here and truly go in depth thinking about this. But right off the surface, I can't really think of any time I've used that phrase. So that to me is, while it would be annoying, I don't really care either way if someone used it. It would just be like, it's kind of a weird way to say something. I've gotten, well, hold on. So-and-so's gotten used to something. I have heard that. Anyway, let's continue, guys.
You do the math.
Right. Let's do the math.
This one
Let's do the math. You do the math.
Up. Why study mathematics plural just to be told to do the math singular?
Study mathematics
Given that this
plural.
phrase is usually dropped at the end of a debate as some kind of all-conquering conversation ender and insurmountable point prover, we Brits can be quick to bristle whenever it's issued our way. We would suggest going back to school, but that throws up the whole college-university hoo-ha, and there just aren't enough hours in the day.
One way or another. It's a mathematical fact. It's like Vegas.
Number 7.
So that one, I'm not exactly sure what he's getting at. Is he basically talking about how you guys use the word math in plural form, M-A-T-H-S, and we generally say math for describing any amount of math, any type of math? We always just use the singular version of that word. That is very true. And the only reason I know that you guys use M-A-T-H-S is because I've seen it enough in comments, and I don't even know where I've seen it. I've just seen it used by you guys, and I don't even know, honestly. I just know that you guys do use that term for some reason, or that, that word. Why do we use the phrase math singular? I don't know. It's never really, honestly, it's just never been something I've thought about one way or the other. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care how anyone phrases that word, really. It doesn't really bother me, but that one's interesting. That's another one I'm gonna have to think about. I generally don't use the word math hardly ever. It's not really a word that pops up. So, but I guess I would use the phrase or the word math singular, because that's just how everybody around me, how we were taught in school, and just generally speaking, everybody uses the singular phrase where I'm from, and I'm guessing you guys watching would use the plural word where you're at if you're in the UK.
Which pants are you wearing?
Which pants are you wearing?
Clumsy line of questioning on an
Which
X-rated
pants
phone line,
are you wearing?
or innocent inquiry about another person's dress code?
Just shut it and put your pants on!
Of course, the underwear or trousers talk all depends upon which side of the Atlantic you're asking from.
Wait.
Interchangeable nouns can often lead expats to embarrassing situations. Remember, your car needs petrol unless it needs gas, which isn't the same fuel used for older style ovens. Sneakers are trainers, although there's nothing especially sly about them, and Band-Aid means plaster, but it's also a seminal 80s charity single, in case you forgot. Number 6.
Okay, so at first I was like, what's he talking about? But I don't remember if I saw this on a video or if someone told me about it in the comments, but is it correct that you guys call what we call underwear, you guys call pants, and what we call pants, you guys call trousers generally? I think that's what he was saying there. And I don't really I don't understand the pants being underwear thing. I mean, obviously I would if I was, raised in the UK, but I've just always known what you have underneath your main clothes, underneath your pants or your shorts, to be underwear. And so underwear just makes sense as a phrase or as a word to me for describing the underclothing underneath your pants, underwear, the wear I'm wearing under. But that is an interesting thing. I'd like to know, guys, why is underwear, what we call underwear, called pants? I can't picture where that word comes from. But as for the few others he was saying there, petrol versus gas, I can see that. Petrol is the more is the, the correct way to say what you're getting. I think people they use gas to describe, well, let me think. We call what you put in your average car gasoline. We call what you put in larger trucks diesel fuel. We call the gas that goes into your house. I mean, there's kerosene, there's propane. Yeah, I guess we just call, generally speaking, when you have a gas line to say a gas stove, I guess we would just call that gas. But this is so interesting, guys. Interesting how we have such different words to describe the same things. It's just so weird how that happens over time. And I'm guessing it's not just an American thing versus UK thing. I'm guessing that if you go within the UK itself, and don't forget within Ireland as well, I'm thinking that within different pockets within your countries, you would probably see certain words describe or certain things are described with two different words, if that makes any sense. I think it's just we're raised with the local versions of the English language. So let's continue.
Finding the first flaw. To another small but significant difference between British and American English, and one which, having crept over from the States, can cause understandable confusion in the UK. When you walk into a building at street level, you're on the ground floor, not the first floor. The first floor is one flight of stairs upwards, but the Americanism says that level is the second floor. It's not, but you can start to see why it's vital that the lift's in full working order. Number 5.
Wait, hold on. So you guys, let's say you walk into a building and you don't call that the first floor. That's actually considered ground floor. And then he's saying that the next floor up is called the first floor. Okay, that's definitely different. I mean, I guess if you're used to it, it makes sense, but just coming from how I've always looked at floors in buildings, I just can't picture why that would be. I can understand why the floor that you're walking into would be called the ground floor, but I can't understand why the floor above it would ever be called the first floor. I could understand if you said, all right, I'm on the ground floor, the next floor up is the second floor. But calling the floor above you is technically the second floor. So anyways, but that one's really interesting to me. Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to think, have I ever seen a building where we have ground floor and then first floor? I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but off the top of my head, I don't recall ever seeing it worded that way. Anyway, let's continue.
Have a nice day.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Don't tell me what to do.
In general, most Brits balk at Americans' apparently unbridled enthusiasm, but it's difficult to criticise their commitment to peppy customer service. But phrases like good job and have a great day can sound forced and insincere when muttered with the moodiness of a Brit cold caller.
Why the do you keep asking me that?
It's all in the delivery, this one. Of course, everyone should try to be good to everyone else, and wishing someone well is a lovely thing to do, but let's say it like we mean it.
So have a nice day.
Number 4.
Okay, so is he literally saying you guys don't generally say have a good day or have a nice day when you're like, I don't know, let's say, like a guy was dropping off a package here. I would always say, thanks, man, have a good day, or thanks, man, have a nice day, or I appreciate it. Hope you have a good day, or something like that. Always. It's just something that would always, I don't know, be something I always say. Anytime I leave somewhere, I generally have always like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. Hope you have a good day, or something along that lines. That's interesting. So you guys don't end conversations or end like if someone was, if you were seeing someone and leaving, what do you say? You just say bye and then walk away, or I don't know. Let me know in the comments what exactly he's getting at there, because I can't imagine someone like, I don't know, seeing someone and then just leaving and just saying bye, or I don't know what you guys would generally say if you don't say something like "Have a good day," "Hope you have a good night," or something like that. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys would generally say in that type of situation.
Quite right.
Quite right.
Not quite my tempo.
Again, this Americanism mostly frustrates because of the misunderstandings it can inspire. We Brits mostly use quite as a middle ground between not at all and absolutely, for words like dangerous, delicate, or difficult. If something's quite damaged, it's not completely beyond repair.
Interesting, okay.
So, with the dispatch of the sergeant, we will now be able to concentrate on the eradication of our hoodie infestation.
Right.
But the US uses quite as a blanket substitute for very.
Yes,
so if
that's
something's
true.
quite extraordinary, then it really is extraordinary. But problems come if you're described as quite intelligent or quite beautiful. For self-esteem's sake, which is it?
Quite right.
Number 3.
Okay, I can definitely see how that one could, be a little bit confusing and could almost be an insult in some ways. Like, for example, if you said, "Hey, you're quite intelligent," and someone's like, "So what? You don't think I'm very intelligent? You think I'm kind of in the middle?" That's what I'm gathering, that how that would be used in the way you guys would describe it. Yeah, it's true though. I mean, generally speaking, if we were to say something like, "Hey, he's quite intelligent," that would generally mean he's a very intelligent person. And yeah, on this, I actually understand why that definitely doesn't really. Yeah. Anyways, I can understand why that would be confusing, but we definitely use that. I don't know why, but anyways.
Alternative facts.
Did you throw Jeremy Paxman out of a window?
Oh, well, kind of.
A term from the top, this idea was first formed following former US Press Secretary Sean Spicer's insistence that Donald Trump's presidential inauguration ceremony was well attended, despite photos seemingly showing that it wasn't. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, famously defended Spicer, claiming that his version of events was built not on falsehoods, but on alternative facts.
And they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that. But the point remains
Alternative facts?
It's jargon worthy of the British writer George Orwell.
Yeah.
We can thank America for making it mainstream and for providing the buzzword for post-truth politics. Number 2.
Okay, honestly, that's not something I've ever heard like just a regular American use. I'm not saying that no regular Americans ever use that, but that is a term I've only ever really heard from like on the mainstream media, such as in the situation they just described. And obviously, when it comes to a fact is a fact, no matter if you like the fact or not. Now, some people can, I guess, pretend they have facts when they don't. And so they can say, I have an alternative fact. But really, if we're going to be living in truth and we're going to be living in complete honesty, I don't think there can be two like alternative facts, because a fact is, if it's truly a fact, it means there is no other alternative to that fact.
The least worst option.
I'm doing this for the city, not you.
The least
worst option.
Our runner-up rounds on another apparently diplomatic double negative, and 3 words which really mean nothing at all.
The least worst
because
option.
What can a least worst option ever really be?
It's true.
If there's something worse than the worst possible something, then the first worst something was never the worst in the first place.
You have a better bad idea than this?
This is the best bad idea we have, sir. By far.
It's pretty simple, really. Anything that's less worse than anything else can't possibly be labelled the worst, and the least worst of those things that are less worse is actually the best option available. Hallelujah. Number 1.
I've never heard that phrase before. The least worst option. I have no idea what to even say about that because it makes no sense. I've never heard anyone say that before, so I don't even know. I have no idea who uses that type of phrase. The least worst option? That literally makes no sense. So, yeah, I don't know anything about that one.
I could care less.
I could care less.
I just want to do my job.
Delivered when someone's past the point of caring, and if you've stuck with this video, then this presumably isn't you, so bravo. I couldn't care less makes perfect sense. Lose
Yeah.
2 letters and an
I
apostrophe,
could care
however,
less.
and it definitely does not.
I really couldn't care less.
I could care less implies that there's still some caring to be had, which is rarely what the person speaking wants to convey. I could care less is like conceding that worse things have happened, but with regard to American English, they rarely have.
Because that, as an expression for not or hardly caring, just makes no sense.
Do you agree?
All right, guys, this was interesting. I can definitely see how some people would find these words and phrases to be a little bit annoying. A lot of them just don't really make any sense at all, such as, what was that last one? What was it? I could care less. I mean, what? It literally doesn't even make sense. But again, that's one I think I may have heard it before, but it's not something I hear Americans using on a regular basis. Then this one right here, the least worst option, I don't think I've ever heard that said. Another one that just literally doesn't make any sense. But for the most part, I think most of these are words and phrases I may have heard at some point in my life, but most of these aren't phrases that, I personally use on a regular basis, or I hear people around me using all that often. What was that first one? It was waiting on something. Once I got to thinking about it, I definitely have heard people say, I'm waiting on a ride or something like that. And so, while I understand what they're saying, it is, it obviously is the wrong way to say that if you're trying to be, correct. But, I'm generally not someone who's really huge on vocabulary. I do like to speak proper as much as I can. Obviously, I was raised in the American South. Some of the words and phrases I use are going to be different from the original English language, or how some of you guys would say the correct way to say, some of these words and phrases. But, you just get used to the words and phrases, from where you're raised. And it's definitely interesting how when these are, pointed out to me in this like list format, it really is interesting how different areas around the world, and in this case, America versus the UK, speak the same language, but in a lot of ways we speak it differently. And it's just so interesting how over time words and phrases have changed. This is one that I'm very confused on, though. I still want this one to be explained to me in the comments, guys. Like, what would you guys say, if someone's dropping off a package to you, or and they're leaving, or if a plumber worked on your plumbing and he's leaving, or if any situation like that, what would you say? I mean, I know you're just not going to say bye. You're going to add something to it. And he made it sound like you guys don't say have a nice day. Like, so, or something similar to that, or, you know what I mean? Please let me know in the comments, guys, what would you say in that situation? Because I definitely would say have a nice day, or, I hope you have a great day, or something like that. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I thought this was a very interesting list. Definitely made me laugh a little bit, and I learned a few things. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.